आदिनाथं पृथ्वीनाथं आदिमं विश्वविग्रहम् आदिमं तीर्थनाथं च ऋषभस्वामिनं स्तुमः। जय विजय आदिनाथ जिनपति जैन धर्म सुर शिरवि अरिहंत सिद्ध आचार्य उपाध्याय सर्व साधु विघ्न हर चिंता श्रीपतन देव ऋषभ सुतनित ध्याव्य तुंग सकल सृष्टि अखिल विश्व ब्रह्मांड में प्रभु रखना अपनी कृपा दृष्टि गुणी साधक श्रेष्ठ बाधक वीणा वादन से रिझाए यक्ष गणधर सिद्ध सुर नरद मृदंग दी संग ध्रुपद गाय पद की गति बंध ना हो ये अमीट वरदान दो हर वाक्य गुंजे जगत में संगीत दीप्तिमान हो संगीत दीप्तिमान हो संगीत दीप्तिमान।
आपको अपने आशीर्वाद गुरुजी हमारा अंतर्नाथ आपको अपने आशीर्वाद गुरुजी हमारा अंतर्नाथ आपको अपने आशीर्वाद गुरुजी हमारा अंतर्नाथ आपको अपने आशीर्वाद। ओम नमो सिद्धानम ओम नमो हरियंतानम ओम नमो सिद्धानम 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 ओम नमो सिद्धानम 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 ओम नमो सिद्धानम ओम नमो आयर्यानम ओम नमो वज्रायनम ओम नमो आयर्यानम ओम नमो वज्रायनम नमो लोए सवसावणं नमो लोए सवसावणं एसो पंचनमुकारो सवपावपणासनो मंगलानं च सवेसिं परमं हवाय मंगलम् मंगलम हवाय मंगलम
परमं हवाय मंगलम। Practicing Jain Dharma for 35 years. Now, Doctor here is good, everybody knows him. And being a professor, having such a big degree and writing 4 big books, he is here today. I am very happy to see him. Very, very good. Thank you.
Jai Janendra. A few minutes ago, the question was asked, are there any other students of Gurudev's here? And they should come up. And in a sense, everybody should have come up. Because we are all students of this wonderful man who has given his life to teaching and to helping people to see what ahimsa means in practical terms. And I know that I consider myself a student of his, and I am honored to be sitting here with him today. It's difficult to summarize what Gurudev has done. It seems anything that we say about him, it's almost trivial, because his contributions have been so remarkable and pervasive. What I would like to do is to focus on what I regard as 3 things that he's done. The first thing he did was to create a Jain community in North America. It did not exist. He was the first Jain monk to come here in 1971. There really wasn't at that time a Jain community. You know, I remember in the late 60s when I was part of the opposition to the war in Vietnam, we started hearing about this funny word, ahimsa. And it came, you know, Dr. King, Martin Luther King talked about it. And we had heard about this man Gandhi in India, and he talked about it. And I remember when I first read about ahimsa, and I read Gandhi, I heard about it through King, and then I read Gandhi. And in reading about Gandhi, I heard about Gandhi being influenced by Srimad Rajachan, and that he was a Jain. I didn't even know what a Jain was. I had to look it up in an encyclopedia. What is a Jain? I think that is actually very typical for most non-Indian people. Even now, they don't really know what, they've got very incomplete, crazy ideas about what Jains are. But then they didn't, I had never even heard the word before. They said Srimad Rajachan was a Jain. And I thought, a Jain, what's a Jain? And then I looked it up and I read about ahimsa. And I was very excited about this. And I wanted to talk to somebody about this. And at the time I was a student at the University of Rochester in Rochester, New York. I was an undergraduate. And I remember going up to an Indian person, the first one I saw, and I said, I've got questions about Jainism. Can you answer them for me? And he looked at me and said, I'm a Hindu, get away from me. But there really wasn't, there wasn't a Jain community at that time. And geographically, people started coming in at around that time, and the population started, the Jain community started, but it was not an organized Jain community. And so I would say that the first focus, the first really important thing that this lovely man has done for the community of Jains in North America is he created it. He helped to focus it. He had the courage to travel. He was criticized heavily by people who objected to the fact that a Jain monk would travel, got very upset with him. He was criticized severely. Nevertheless, he thought it was the right thing to do. He recognized this was a society in deep crisis, that it needed ahimsa. And boy, he was right. He was right, and we need it. We needed it then, we need it now. We need it now. We are still a very violent society. We are still an extremely materialistic society. We are still a society that values the individual by what the individual has, owns, possesses. The value of the individual is still linked to external possessions. That's himsa. That's a fundamental form of himsa. That is why Jain Dharma is needed more now than ever. Gurudev, but we wouldn't be here. We would not be here today as a community, a strong community in this country, if it were not for Gurudev, what he did in organizing that community with Sushil Kumar and other people, but basically the two of them, with Gurudev taking the lead, basically created the Jain community in the United States, and through his efforts, Jaina was born. We have Dr. Sushil Jain here today, who is president of Jaina. It's a magnificent organization. We have Dilip Bhai, where is Dilip? Oh, there he is. Dilip, hi Saba. And Dilip Bhai, who is the former past president. We have two past presidents. We have the present president and the immediate past president of Jaina, a magnificent organization that, with a relatively small budget, does a magnificent job of keeping this community going and doing so very much. Again, that was the vision of Gurudev. Jaina is his child, his brainchild, his heart child. And it is an organization that has done an enormous amount. His involvement with the young Jains, the YJA, is absolutely, I mean, watching him at a YJA conference is just magnificent, because the young people who can't be bothered about anything, unfortunately, a lot of them can't be, are not really, a lot of the young people, unfortunately, are not into the spiritual aspect of Jainism. And one of the things that Gurudev does is he attracts them like a magnet. It's just wonderful to watch. I get enormous enjoyment watching Gurudev interact with the young people. They are drawn to him. They are drawn to him, and in his presence, they become spiritual and interested in spiritual things. And so I remember when I watched him at the last YJA conference, I thought, the young people really are interested in spiritual things. The problem, the trick is, how do you present it to them? It's obvious that they're not disinterested in it as some matter of principle. They just haven't, the message in a lot of ways hasn't gotten to them so that they understand it. Gurudev, at age 90, can speak to them better than other young people can. It's really remarkable to see. But in any event, that's the first thing he's done, is he's helped create the North American Jain community. And he also said, put aside the sex. Svetambra, Digambra, doesn't matter. I've heard him say, I assume you've heard him say, Digambra, you're wearing clothes. Svetambra, you're not wearing white. What's the big deal? Why do we care about sex? Things which divide us. There is one principle that matters, ahimsa. Do no harm. Do no harm. That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is a distracting footnote. That is what he has taught us. That is the vision he has given us. The second thing that he has done is that he helped to reestablish the tradition of meditation as a central focus of Jain Dharma. Again, others participated in this as well. Acharya Tulsi, the Therapanths in India, Sushil Kumar with the Arham meditation. But it was again Gurudev who was in the forefront of saying, if you're a Jain and you don't meditate, something is wrong. He reestablished, he put at the center of Jainism meditation, which in the 20th century and in large parts of the 18th century, it had just sort of dropped out completely out of Jain Dharma. People just didn't talk about meditation. It was only when Gurudev said, look, this is a central practice. It's not just for ascetics. It's not just for holy men. It's not just for the sadhus and sadhvis. It's for us all. He democratized meditation. He wrote marvelous books. I have two of them here today, The Dynamics of Jain Meditation and The Meditation on the Seven Energy Centers. I just want to read you a couple of paragraphs. They're beautiful. I find them beautiful. As a matter of fact, I hope I can get through them without being choked up. But someone once said that in order to find joy in living, there must be something worth dying for. What did he mean by this? Here, dying means not the death of the physical body, but the giving up or losing of a lesser thing in order to awaken to something greater. In other words, one must relinquish something of secondary importance before one can appreciate and enjoy something of primary importance. Consider a cube of sugar, for example. In order for the sugar to impart its true sweetness, to fulfill its real potential, it must first lose its temporary rigid form. It must dissolve. Therefore, when we place a cube of sugar in a cup of warm milk, he meant soy milk. It naturally gives up its shape, releasing its sweet flavor. If, however, the sugar were able to identify with being a cube and cling to its cube nature, it would not dissolve and it would not realize its hidden sweetness, its true sugar nature. We are not so different from the sugar cube. We must first give up our small ego. That's the key, isn't it? We must first give up our small ego, our self-imposed limitations, our fears, our feeling of inadequacy and impotence, and our identification with temporary gains and losses. When we have dissolved these, all that will remain is the sweet essence of our real self. Only then will our lives be fully eliminated by our invisible soul. In this sense, losing is our gain, our real and permanent gain. If you understand those 3 paragraphs, and you understand ahimsa, you understand Jain Dharma. You understand Jain Dharma. It's about nonviolence, and it's about losing yourself and not identifying with all of the things that don't matter. That's the essence, the beauty, the crystal truth of Jain Dharma. The third thing that Gurudev has done is he has gotten us to focus on what ahimsa means. And in this sense, I want to talk for a few minutes about Gurudev and Pramodaben's tireless efforts to get the Jain community to focus on the importance of doing no harm to any mobile, multi-sense being. And that requires us to adopt what Dilip Bhai calls the ahimsic lifestyle, what some people call veganism. I actually, since Dilip Bhai has formulated ahimsic living, I actually don't use veganism much anymore, because I don't think it really captures what it is I'm talking about and what it is I care about, which is basically a lifestyle in which look, living in samsara, living in the material world, means you do harm. No doubt about it. Every one of us. You know, to move, to breathe, to travel in cars, to walk, is to do harm. Everything we consume, every item we consume, has a deleterious effect on someone else. You can't live. That's the problem of samsara, isn't it? That we are stuck in a realm where ahimsa becomes very difficult, if not impossible. Until we get to that point, that special point which most of us don't get to, won't get to. I certainly won't. But until we get to moksha, then we continue to be generators of harm. There is no doubt about that. But Bhagwan, but Mahavir, he knew this. He knew, he understood that living meant we did harm. But Bhagwan said, there are certain things that we can do, that we must do. That we must do in order to minimize that. The Acharang Sutra, 4th lecture. The Arahats and Bhagavats of the past, present, and future all say thus, speak thus, declare thus, explain thus. All breathing, existing, living, sentient creatures should not be slain, nor treated with violence, nor abused, nor tormented, nor driven away. It wasn't just killing sentient beings that's a problem, although that's obviously a very serious problem. It's tormenting them, driving them away, causing them distress. We can say that Anikantvad says that there is no truth. I suggest, my friends, that's not what Anikantvad means. What Anikantvad means is not that there's no truth. It means that there's truth that's complicated. It means that truth has many aspects, and that until we reach moksha, we can't understand them all. We can only see little pieces. But there is a truth there. You know, the story that everyone gives about the elephant and, you know, the blind men touching the elephant. There's an elephant there. It's not that there's nothing there, or that it's their opinion as to what's there. They have views about what the trunk is. But there is an elephant there. Anikantvad, I hear people say, it's relative. It's the Jain doctrine of relativity. That's not what the Anikantvad is. Anikantvad is truth is complicated. It has many aspects. But the sutras can give us an insight that the jhanas, the insight of the jhanas as to what the truth is to the extent that we can understand it. And so what Bhagwan tells us in the Acharang Sutra is we shouldn't inflict any suffering or death or torment or distress or harm on any mobile multi-sense being. And so when I hear my friends in the Jain community say, well, you know, you don't drink milk, but that's your opinion. No, it's not my opinion. It is a fact. This microphone is sitting here. That is a fact. Gurudev is sitting here. That is a fact. I am sitting here. That is a fact. You are sitting here. That is a fact. And milk and dairy and eggs and cheese and ghee and all of that stuff involves violence. That's a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. And if we say, Anikantvad says, well, if you want to drink milk, you drink milk. And the answer is, then what do you say to the person who wants to eat meat? What is the basis of ahimsa when you are speaking to somebody and you are trying to impart what ahimsa means to somebody who eats meat, who says, look, that's your opinion, not my opinion. And the answer is, you would say, what would you say? You would say, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Of course, killing is violence. Taking the life of a sentient being is violence. Of course it is. That's what you'd say. You wouldn't say it's a matter of opinion. You'd say it's a matter of fact. And that is what Gurudev has been saying to us. That's what Gurudev has been saying to us. It's a matter of fact. It's not Anikantvad relativity. It's a matter of fact. If we believe in ahimsa, we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. Milk is out, cheese is out, ghee is out. And you know, people say, well, but you know, it was used thousands of years ago. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. History has a funny way of being selective. But the one thing that we can be clear of, even if it were possible thousands of years ago to produce dairy without violence, it's not possible now. There's suffering, there's distress, there's death, there's theft. We take the milk from the baby. The milk intended for the baby, we drink it. That's theft. There's violence. There's blood in milk. When you eat cheese, there's enzymes taken from the cow's stomach. The bottom line is suffering and death. It's not just a question of suffering, it's a question of death. Dairy products and meat are inextricably intertwined. And so when people say, well, but you know, in India, there are small places where, you know, they don't kill the baby cows. That's not true. There's over 1 million male cows killed every year in India because of the dairy industry. 1 million of them. I think that's a wildly inaccurate low number. But 1 million animals killed because of the dairy industry. The milk that you drink, the milk that you will buy at the store and drink tonight in your tea, that comes from an animal that has a lifespan of 30 years. But she'll be killed in about 5 or 6, if she makes it that long. You can't separate out. You can't separate out dairy from meat. It's all the same. It all involves death. It all involves suffering. And it all is an explicit and clear violation of what Bhagwan says very, very clearly. He doesn't say you just can't kill them, although there is killing with dairy. He says you can't cause them distress, suffering, anxiety, torment. Can't do that. And that's exactly what we do. Jain Dharma teaches hope. If there is anything, any time at which Jain Dharma is crucial, it's now. But Jain Dharma has to have a meaning. It has to present a clear message. And if it just says we don't eat meat, but we consume other things that are bad, we wear leather, we wear wool or whatever, if that's what we're doing, it has no meaning. Then it's just a question of tradition. And if anything, Jain Dharma says, never accept tradition. Always use your brain and your logic and your rationality. That's what Gurudev has been trying to get us to see with veganism or the ahimsic lifestyle. And I know that some people don't want to hear it, but unfortunately, it's the truth that he brings to us. So those are the three things. Three things. He's created this community in North America. He's gotten us away from the idea of thinking, Setambra, Digambra, Stanakwasi, Terapa, he's gotten us away from that. We're Jains. He's focused us on ahimsa. He's focused us on meditation. And he has taught us an extremely valuable lesson. That nonviolence has a meaning. And that to be a Jain is not just to be an Indian in India who identifies culturally with that, or to be an Indian in this country, in diaspora, who identifies culturally with it. It means something else. It speaks fundamentally to our souls. And it teaches us in every second of our lives to have compassion and to have love and to let that extend to every sentient being on the planet. What a beautiful message. I'm very proud to call this man my friend.
पवित्र झरन मुझ भैया
I will read a couple of messages. There's one from the past president of China, Dr. Suresh Jain. He has expressed his gratitude in 4 pages. Everyone is supposed to send only 1 page. And he said because he had known him for 40 years, 1 page for every 10 years is not a lot. So what he has observed in very keen eyes, that Gurudev has offered something that no one else has ever done. As a scholar, he has not only given us lectures, not just his presence, but gave us organizations that we could all attach to, that we could all benefit from, that we could all be part of. China, but before that, Jain Meditation International Center in New York, which was the first place where Jains in New York area could come and pray together. As Gary mentioned earlier, he long ago stopped supporting any given sect. All Jains together was his motto. Even when he was in Bombay, when he came here, he decided that there is need for a national organization. And he created one with Acharya Sushil Kumarji that is still the largest such organization of Jains in the world. And he hasn't stopped giving. This year, there is a university in California that has started courses on Jainism, degree courses, master's degree, and if the program flourishes, PhD in Jainism. It's the only place. And without any fanfare, without telling anyone, Gurudev was the first person to donate $15,000 of his own money so that Jainism could be brought to the academics here. There are many messages. I'm going to read a message from his son, Rajiv, who is in India, and see if it resonates with how you feel about Gurudev. Having seen him so closely, one can say, I have seen him under a microscope. I have seen him caring about life. Not the life of that one routinely thinks of, but the life that exists in water, in mosquitoes, in the silent animals, in the flowers that have fallen from the tree. Growing up there were things that disagreed with him. In hindsight, a lot of it was not because of his strength of his logic, but was because of the weaknesses within me. If all called for personal changes, which seems so tough, yet the promise of the nectar at the end. Even the first man who talked about fire or about flying was later understood, much later. Seeing him today, I am unsure. Is he Father the Guru or Guru the Father? On second thought, how does it matter? The light is the same, no matter which part of the world you are in. He's the light of my world. Thank you.
Guruji, these messages are addressed to you, so that's our gift from all over the world for you. Our own Chandrakant Bhai Mehta would say 2 words about Gurudevji.
जय जिनेन्द्र परम पूज्य गुरुदेव आदरणीय प्रमोदाबेन अमरेंद्र मुनि जी आमंत्रित मेहमानों અને મિત્રો અમેરિકામાં વર્ષોથી વસતા જૈનોનો એક મહાન પુણ્યોદય છે મહાન ભાગ્યોદય છે કે આપણને ગુરુદેવ ચિત્રભાનુ મળે અને એ પણ એક કલ્યાણ મિત્ર તરીકે એક ગુરુ તરીકે અને એક સંત રૂપે મળ્યા આગળ વધીને કહું તો એક મુનિ રૂપે મળ્યા ભગવાન મહાવીરને એકવાર પૂછવામાં આવ્યું કે પ્રભુ મુનિ કોને કહેવાય મુનિની વ્યાખ્યા શું અને ભગવાને 2 શબ્દોનો ઉત્તર આપ્યો असुप्ता मुनि जे सुतेला नथी जे जागृत छे ए मुनि कहेवाय आपणने बहु गौरव थाय छे के आजे 90 वर्षनी उंमरे गुरुदेव चित्रभानु जवान छे जोशीला छे अने जागृत छे आपणने गौरव छे कि गुरुदेव ने प्रमोदावन जेवा धर्मपत्नी मळ्या एमणे गुरुदेवनी भावनाओने बराबर समजी अने संपूर्ण साथ आप्यो सहकार आप्यो अने परिणाम शुं आव्युं परिणामे गुरुदेवे आपणा जीवनमां मूंझवता प्रश्नो ए समज्या अने धर्मने जीवंत राख्यो ધર્મને આજ સુધી જીવંત રાખ્યો અને થોડા જ વર્ષોમાં એક નહીં બે નહીં પણ જ્યોતથી જ્યોત જલે એમ 67 જૈન સેન્ટરો અમેરિકામાં ઉભા થઈ ગયા. ગુરુદેવ, હમણાં જ મૈત્રી ભાવનું પવિત્ર ઝરણું મેં સાંભળ્યું અને મને વિચાર આવ્યો કે બરાબર કે મૈત્રી ભાવનું પવિત્ર ઝરણું એ આપના હૃદયમાંથી નીકળ્યું અને અમારા હૈયાને સ્પર્શી ગયું છે, ભીજવી ગયું. અને એ ગુણોથી ભરેલા આ ગુણીજનને દેખીને અમારું હૈયું આજે નૃત્ય કરે છે. અને આ સંતના ચરણ કમળમાં અમારું મસ્તક આજે ઝૂકી જાય છે. ભગવાન મહાવીરને એકવાર પ્રશ્ન પૂછવામાં આવ્યો. ગૌતમ સ્વામીએ પ્રશ્ન પૂછ્યો, હે પ્રભુ, હે કરુણાનિધાન, એવું તો શું બને કે મનુષ્ય પરભાવમાં મનુષ્ય બને અને દીર્ઘ આયુષ્ય વાળો થાય? ત્યારે ભગવાને ઉત્તર આપ્યો, હે ગૌતમ, જે મનુષ્ય સરળ છે, જે મનુષ્ય સદવિચારો ધરાવે છે, જે મનુષ્ય અન્ય જીવોની વેદનાને સમજે છે અને જે મનુષ્ય જીવોને અભયદાન આપે છે, હે ગૌતમ, એ મનુષ્ય પરભાવમાં મનુષ્યપણે પામી અને દીર્ઘ આયુષ્ય વાળો અચૂક થાય. ભગવાન મહાવીરના વચનોનો આ સાર છે કે જે રીતે ગુરુદેવ જીવન જીવ્યા છે એ રીતે જોતા હું ખાતરીપૂર્વક કહી શકું છું કે આ પછીના ભવોમાં ગુરુદેવ જ્યાં સુધી આપ મોક્ષે નહીં જાઓ ત્યાં સુધી મનુષ્ય રૂપે દીર્ઘ આયુષ્ય પામી અને આ ધર્મની જ્યોતને સૌથી ઊંચાઈ પર લઈ જશો, એમાં કોઈ શંકા નથી. સમય નથી, ઘણું કેવું છે. છેલ્લે એટલું જ કહીશ, હેપી 90th બર્થડે ગુરુદેવ.
આ એક એવા પુરુષ છે કે જે સામાયિકનો જે રસ જૈન ધર્મને સમજાવવામાં પાડ્યું છે, શીખવાડ્યું છે અને કરે છે. અને એમને જે કહ્યા એવું તો આશીર્વાદ હું તો બધાને તમારે લેવા માટે આવ્યો છું. પણ એક વાત તો ચોક્કસ છે કે આજે 6 million people are practicing ahimsa, veganism. New York Times, if you have read 2 years ago, they say 6 million people are vegan now. હવે આનાથી વધારે સારું શું જોઈએ કે જે લોકો માંસાહાર ખાતા હતા એ લોકો આજે એ વિગન થઈ ગયા છે. એના આશીર્વાદ બીજું આપણે શું જોઈએ? માણસોના તો આશીર્વાદ મળે છે પણ આ જાનવરના પણ આપણને આશીર્વાદ મળે છે બિચારા. અને એની જો એક કરુણ કથા હું જો આપને સમજાવું તો આપ ખરેખર રડી પડશો એવી એની કથાઓ છે બધી. અને એ મારી પાસે છે અને કોઈને જે જોવું હોય તો હું બતાવી શકીશ કે આજે જે આપણને મળી રહ્યું છે એ જુદું છે. અને આ જૈન ધર્મની અંદર એટલા જ માટે આંબીલની મહત્તા છે અને વિગે ત્યાગની મહત્તા છે, નવપદની ઓળીની મહત્તા છે. જૈન ધર્મની અંદર આ ત્યાગને તો વિગયને વિગયમ નયયી, વિગય એ દુર્ગતિમાં લઈ જાય છે કારણ કે એમાંથી કામ વધારે ઉત્પન્ન થાય છે. એટલે જૈન ધર્મના મૂળમાં તો એ જ છે પણ જે પાછળથી સંપ્રદાયો થયા એ સંપ્રદાયોએ બહુ ગરબડ કરી નાખી.
Kumar Chatterjee hails from Hindustani classical Gharana and was initiated to the music from his early age. Under the guidance of renowned masters like Sri Acharya T.L. Rana, Sri Amaya Chattopadhyay and Sunanda Patnaik. So these are all his gurus. And you will tell me how is the singer, please.
हे सुनो चंदा जी चंदा जी चंदा जी चंदा जी 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 है जी चंदा जी, सुनो चंदा जी, हो चंदा जी, सुनो चंदा जी, सुनो चंदा जी रे, दिम तनक दिम तनक दिम तनक दिम। सुनो चंदा जी रे, तम श्रीमंधर परमात्म, ओ तम श्रीमंधर परमात्म, पास जा जोरे मुझ दी नगरी रे, हे मुझ भी नगरी रे, मुझ भी नगरी रे, प्रेम भरिणी तेरे तुम सांभरा जो जो जी 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 है सुन चंदा जी चंदा जी चंदा जी, ओ चंदा जी चंदा जी जी। जे प्राण भुवन नो नायक छे, जे प्राण भुवन नो नायक छे, जस 64 इंद्र पायक छे, नाम दर्शन जे ज्ञान दर्शन जे नने शायक छे, जी 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 जी। सुन चंदा जी चंदा जी चंदा जी, ओ चंदा जी चंदा जी जी। जिन कंचन वरणी काया छे, जिन कंचन वरणी काया छे, जस घोड़ी लक्षण पाया छे, सानी सदा रे माला मामा दानी ने 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 दादा मामा मामा गगर रे गगर रे गगर रे गगर सरे नि सरे गन नि सरे गन नि सा मामा मामा रे गसा। जिन कंचन वरणी काया छे, जस घोड़ी लक्षण पाया छे, पुंडरीक नगरी नो पुंडरीक नगरी नो राया छे, जी 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 जी। सुन चंदा जी चंदा जी चंदा जी, पदनी सनि दमनि दम मगर गर सनि गर सनि दम मग मगर सनि भाभी जननी जी पर बोले छे, तुम अधिक शीतल गुण सोहे छे, भाभी जननी जी पर बोले छे, तुम अधिक शीतल गुण सोहे छे, रूप देखी भाभी जन मोहे छे, जी 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 ओ जी चंदा जी चंदा जी। तुम सेवा करवा रसियो तुम सेवा करवा रसियो छु, पण भरत मा दूरे बसियो छु। तुम सेवा करवा रसियो छु, पण भरत मा दूरे बसियो छु। कपटी हय मरनाण दर्शन धराण पियट क्षौमाण जिन्नोणं चावयणं तिन्नाणं
Respected Guruji, respected Muniji, distinguished guests, I'm indeed honored to be here to not celebrate Guruji's birthday, but to celebrate a legacy of a man who's been in the public service for many, many years and over 50 plus years. actually 60, 70 years, if I do my math right. First, I'll speak the written speeches that I have so that I can finish it in 2 minutes. On behalf of the Jain community, Jaina leaders, and Jaina Executive Committee, I extend our warm congratulations to Gurudev Chitrabhanu on the auspicious occasion of his 90th birthday, and pay the highest tribute to him as a trailblazer for nurturing the seeds of Jainism in North America. Gurudev's epic journey is one of the unremarkable, unbreakable, built unwavering integrity and abiding humility is a testimonial to his work in North America. His visionary and persistent efforts over the last 5 decades in spreading Bhagwan Mahavir's eternal message of compassion, peace, and nonviolence, and universal tolerance has resulted in many interfaith bridges Jain community has built in many of the American mainstream institutions, resulting in a strong and sustainable foundation. In 1981, inspired by Gurudev, the North American Jains united and founded Jaina. Under his guidance, Jaina has become a globally recognized organization and is a hallmark of Jain unity for others to emulate. On this special occasion, we honor Gurudev and Jaina's fundamental commitment to achieving the betterment of our communities and the world through education, spiritual advancements, and services. Gurudev Chitrabhanu's extraordinary life and steadfast commitment to the principles of ahimsa, his impassioned promotion of unity among all Jains, and all his numerous institutional involvement continues to serve as a beacon of hope for a better future for all of us. We are collectively inspired all across the globe to strive to live compassionately and follow Gurudev's exemplary life guided by motto, live and help live, by performing all types of charitable work to benefit earthly souls. On a personal note, our family has been inspired by Gurudev every time we meet and deeply appreciate the time we spend with him. Benefiting from his wisdom, grace, and spirit of generosity, by any measure, Gurudev has changed the arc of history, transforming the Jain way of life from holy scriptures into daily practices not only applicable and adaptable in our country and continent, but also the Jains around the globe. Today's celebration is a fitting tribute to a man who has demonstrated to the world the extraordinary powers of nonviolence, tolerance, compassion, and service to our fellow men and women and creatures. On a personal note, Gurudev, how do you celebrate a legacy of over 70 years? Jaina, to remember you, Jaina was a small child. So how do you celebrate and leave that legacy for hundreds of years to come? We have thought of one way that we could do eternal is planting trees in every Jain center that we possibly can. Why trees? When I moved to this country, I was 12, 13-year-old. You probably don't remember me, but through my families, we actually used to play and come in your compound whenever we went to New York and other areas. So trees offer that playground where a child can climb the trees, pull the arms, and learn to balance ourselves. That's Jainism. When we're a child, we're learning to balance ourselves and live and recognize our limits of what we can do. And that tree will offer that nurturing and balancing. As we grow old, the tree, when we feel tired from the exhaustion that the environment offers us, will provide the temporary shadow while we take a breather to stop. And every time we come to a temple, we will remember that tree, which offers us the shadows and the protection that we need. Third, when we grow old and tired, this is the tree we will rest to reflect upon our past. Gurudev, I cannot think of any better way to commemorate trees around this nation every Jain center we can, and I hope we can do that today here, and Toronto and other cities will follow along with the stream and planting a tree in the commemorate this particular Jain families around the globe. I only speak for North America, but I'm sure the feelings are mutual from around the globe. We wish a happy birthday, and may all the Devtas shower upon you the choicest blessings, so you could be among us and keep us nurturing. So by 100 years, we will be here to celebrate your 100th. So Gurudev, thank you for your blessings, and of course our blessings are always there. And we pray for your long life.
This time we had in Florida, the president is vegan, vice president is vegan, and all the food, 99% was vegan this time. 99%. And the young Jain, the president told me that I assure you, next year it will be all completely 100% vegan. This is the young Jain. Our young people are our hope. And I expect that at least in Upasana or in Mandir, in that environment, we should not have the dairy. When we take the milk, a milk comes for whom? For the baby cow. We take out, what happens to the baby? It goes to beef industry. Jain Dharma is Ahimsa Parmo Dharma. So this way, Dr. Sushilji knows it, and he is in touch with the people, and they are now American government also. Can you tell that thing?
We have, the Jaina has worked with the federal government in establishing a plant-based foods available in schools in federal government, all the high school, elementary school, and middle schools. And we actually helped with the PCRM's help and legislated in the White House and Capitol and got it approved. The process is a bit lengthy. We got $7 million to develop recipes. So it's not just the Indian food, but it's all plant-based food. But our goal and objective is to educate the people. And the next phase is, once the recipes is developed, is to actually have them available in all the schools. And that initial funding was $7 million to establish it. And the next phase, which will come in 2 years, all the schools are required to provide the plant-based meals. So be on the lookout, legislate, educate your city congressmen, senators, and demand plant-based food be available for faith-based purpose as well as for the health purpose. It's very healthy, needless to say. So, and then if there are any questions, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Another thing what I want to say, doctors have got together and they have published a book. And the book is giving 125 recipes, vegan. And the book's name is Walk Over the Night. Thank you for Sushil Kumarji, what you have mentioned. God bless you.
Guruji was talking about the vegan food, and Sushil is taking responsibility of bringing this book next time at the Jaina Convention in Detroit in 2013, July first weekend. Now, we are celebrating Guruji's 90th birthday. Does he look like 90? He looks much better than a lot of people that are sitting here. And soon, we are going to celebrate 100 and 125th birthday also. That's my comment.